So as you all know, I quite like D&D. It's actually one of the things that I like, and I decided to take my hand at a sort of a new class idea, right? This is my don't steal it, all right? This is my idea. It's my take on like a summoner class, kind of inspired by Terraria, right? So, you got your core traits, right? You got your primary ability scores are going to be wisdom and dexterity. Your hit point die are going to be 1d6 for yourself and 1d4 for your familiar. We'll get to that in a second. Saving throw proficiencies are wisdom or dexterity. Your skill proficiencies are going to be arcana, animal handling, and nature. Your weapon proficiencies are going to be whips. We're going to get to that later as well. Short swords, bows, and light crossbows. Your armor training is going to be light. Your starting equipment is going to be one whip, one proficient weapon, a familiar, and 20 gold pieces. So, you go to weaponry, right? You're going to start off with a whip. It's going to do 1d6 slashing or bludgeoning damage. It's a finesse weapon. It's a 15-foot reach and a 10-foot slow. So, whenever you hit something with it, right? It slows the enemy down by 10 feet. There's also different types of whips that we'll get to later on. You also have your familiars, right? Ignore that. So you have your familiars, and these familiars will get stronger with you as you continue. Now these are just some like examples, like rat or eagle or riding horse, but like you can talk to your DM about the familiars you can have. So the description. As a summoner, you find yourself so connected to the arcane and the weave that you gain the ability to summon creatures from it, enforcing your will unto them. Only time and your imagination will tell you your limits as you sound to the world when you wake up with your new companion. Your familiar, as I said, can be workshopped with your DM. If knocked unconscious, your summons also fall unconscious until you are awake again. Your familiar stays awake unless also knocked unconscious. Your summons do not share initiative with you unless stated in a subclass. So, as a summoner, you gain the following class features when you reach the level. Level 1, you're familiar. You take a deep breath, drift into slumber. When you awaken, a small familiar of your choosing is awoken with you, ready to fight alongside you. This familiar cannot be permanently killed unless you are, and will only be knocked unconscious until long rest or until it is healed when taking a fatal injury. And of course, the list of familiars is there. The reason why I had it not like permanently die is although I want the familiar to like carry weight to the party and to the summoner, I also don't want the familiar to be like a one-time thing because it is something that gets more powerful with your class. It can, of course, be banished to a different realm and such, but it will not like there will be a way to bring it back. Summoner magics. Because of your deep connection to the weave and the arcane, you are able to focus every morning to create life out of the magics of the world. You have your list of summons. We're gonna go to that now. So you have your familiars and you have your general summons. These power levels I'm gonna explain a bit later. But like summons, I basically I took existing summons and I kind of modified them a bit. So, like, their stats may be a bit different, their AC might be different, their HP. The formula is a base number plus summoner level times max summoner power, right? And I gave it 4 per power level, aside from power level 5. Level 2, you unlock Teamer. You can now summon more creatures. You gain this feature again at summoner level 7, 12, and 17. Kind of like ability score improvements, or unarmed movement with monk. And at level 3, you get a summoner subclass of your choice, right? So the subclasses, you have Rat Keeper, Nuzlocke, Jack the Whipper, and Army of Many. And my favorite one here is Rat Keeper. It's if you've ever played Amulet of Many Minions, like Terraria mod, then you'll understand the Rod of the Rat Keeper. Or if you're just in my friend group, the Rat Keeper is a believer in strength and numbers when it comes to the weak. The Rat Keeper is a believer in strength and numbers when it comes to the weak, summoning tsunamis of rats against their foes to overwhelm them. Where others see weakness, you see potential. Level 3, Ratman. All summons are now replaced with summoned rats imbued with your power. These rats become more deadly than those seen normally. These rats share initiative with you unless otherwise stated. So if you were to state, like, this group of rats doesn't share initiative with me, I'll have them go on a separate turn, you'd roll separately for them. You're also automatically friendly with kobolds and gain advantage on any charisma-based checks with them. That's just, I mean, kobolds are basically just rats, if you think. So, there's that. Also, your summon slots are doubled, but they can only be used for rats. And summoned rats, Rat Keeper gets like its own little rats. So every single time you increase in summon power, your rats get more powerful. The AC is like the HP, all that stuff. It goes up. I made a mistake with the document. That's supposed to be a times, not a plus. Actually, no, that's supposed to be a plus. Never mind. I'm dumb. I'm dumb. I'm big dumb dumb. But yeah, and with level 6, you get Pestilence. Your rats have become imbued with Pestilence, allowing them to infect targets with their poisonous bites. Target must make a save equal to your summoner level plus wisdom to avoid poison when bitten. Poison damage and effects are rat level based, and you become resistant to poison and your rats become immune to it. So it isn't that powerful early on, because like it's only your summoner level plus wisdom, so it's at most like 11 if you fully spec into wisdom, you know what I mean? But later on, when you're like summoner level 14 and the DC is like a 17 per rat bite, like you'll be able to poison stuff pretty effectively. And as stated, like your rats become immune to poison, and the poison does 1d4 damage for 1d4 rounds at the beginning. But later on, it does like more damage for more rounds, and the rats also do more damage per bite. And level 14, you gain an ability, Tsunami of Rats. Tsunami of Rats, basically, once per short rest, select an enemy. When selected, all your rats become hastened until that creature is dead. You and your rats can only hit this creature until you either call it off or until it is dead. So, like, even if you got hit by another creature, you would only be able to target the one you selected until it's called off. Your currently alive rats gain temporary hit points equal to 2 times your summoner level. And at level 14, when you unlock it, it's like 28 hit points. All dead rats revive and count as undead until the ability ends, spawning in with half health. The hastened and the temporary health does not apply to these dead, undead rats. Next subclass we have is Nuzlocke. The Nuzlocke is a summoner that pours their heart and soul into their summons, empowering them at the cost of permanence. This summoner, when their summons are killed, can never use that summon ever again in favor of more power. Level 3 Nuzlocke. All summons are now 1 life. When they are killed, they cannot be used again in favor of such a great sacrifice. However, your summons are now more powerful. all summon max health is increased by 2 times summoner level plus con, which isn't that strong early on. Like, that's at most 16 health if you really went high into con. You can now summon non-beast type creatures up to your dungeon master's discretion. All of the general summons have all just been beasts. So if you wanted to summon like a construct, you could with Nuzlocke. This allows for like more ability. Because if you were to just lose all your summons, right? Because there's like 19 of them. If you were to lose 19, you can't really do much, you know? Until you get level 14, that is. Damage boost. Your summons now experience damage boost based off level. Level 3, you add 1d4 to it. Level 6, you add 1d6 to damage. 1d4 to attack rolls. Level 10, you get 1d8. Level 13, you get 1d10. 1d6 to attack rolls. Level 16, you get 1d12. 2d4 to attack rolls. Level 20, you get 2d8 and 2d6 to attack rolls. The reason why it's so powerful, you gotta remember, like, if any of them die, they're gone for good. I might change level 14's ability just to fully reflect that, because that is a feature that Summons Master has. Survivability. Once per long rest, your summons now have the ability to, as a free action, gain temporary hit points equal to 3 times summoner level, plus summons constitution bonus. So take, like, what's one of the good yeah. So take a boar, right? It would be able to gain 3 times your summoner level, so 18, plus 2. So 20 health, temporarily. And level 14 necromancy, I might change it to where you can... No, because that wouldn't work. I don't know. I might make Nuzlocke to where you can't swap them out during days. And necromancy, instead of necromancy, I might do it to where, like, it does something else, like maybe allows you to swap them out again. I don't really know. Next we have Jack the Whipper, which is the longest one so far, I think. Those summoners who decide to reinvent themselves as Jack the Whipper decide to channel their summon energy into themselves and their weapon, sacrificing the ability to summon many for the benefit of the few. Level 3, Loyalty. Your whip cannot be removed from you. Any attempt made to remove it 10 feet from you will result in it snapping back into your hands no matter what is blocking it, aside from being cast into a different dimension, plane, or you're unconscious. If your whip is stolen from you in your sleep, you will know where it is if it is in the same plane as you. You gain the ability to use your whip close quarters. Because, like, imagine trying to use a whip with an enemy 5 feet from you. That's not really going to happen, you know? As a consequence, you can only have your familiar present or lose all whipped-based benefits until your summons are gone. Each empty summon slot adds +1 damage. So say you had a whip +1, you could then use that close quarters, and if you had like 2 summon slots, it would be 1d8 +1 +2. You know what I mean? Level 3 Whippersnapper. You become able to snap your whip at others to intimidate them. You gain proficiency in intimidation while using your whip. If used during combat, the targets must make a charisma save equal to your summoner level plus intimidation or be frightened until the end of your turn. Enemies around the target get advantage on this save. It might seem like frightened until the end of your turn is a lot, but really that only gives you and whoever else is on your turn, like, the ability to have them be frightened. I might make it until the end of your next turn, but it is the level 3 ability, so I might just have it increase in Soundbreaker. Level 6 Snatch. You can now snatch items from opponent at a range with your whip. If the item is brittle, it will instead break unless it's magical, like a magical orb or something. DC check of 10 plus distance in feet times 2. So if it were like 2 tiles away from you, so 10 feet, it would be 10 feet divided by 5. So 2 times 2, 4 plus 10, DC 14. And of course, like cover will also change that. Level 10 target practice. Your specialty in whips allows you to select a specific target on a creature. This will increase the difficulty of hitting that target, but will allow for a debuff to be applied. So if you target someone's head, their AC goes up by 5, but they must make a con save equal to DC 12. I might have that be like DC 12 plus your constitution bonus, or maybe DC 12 plus damage. If failed, they're stunned for 1 round. The eyes, DC 17 dex save. If failed, blindness for 1d4 rounds. Body, DC 10. If failed, stun for 1 round, like liver shot. Arms, if failed, the creature's weapon is knocked from its hand and thrown 5 feet away. Legs, if failed, target is prone. I'm going to have to... All of these, like, DCs are up to DM discretion, of course, but that's, like, the base I had. Level 14, Soundbreaker. Your whip goes up in damage die, so 1d8 turns into 1d10. Once per short rest, you gain the ability to deafen creatures within 10 feet of your whip's snap. These creatures must make a constitution save equal to your summoner level plus proficiency bonus, or be deafened for 1d10 rounds. This might seem like really powerful. If someone is meleeing a creature and you snap at a creature, the same creature that the person's meleeing, because you have to hit something with it, right? So if you were to hit something and then choose to sound break, anything within 10 feet of that and the creature has to make that con save. So it means like you have to specifically target something that isn't already being hit, but then nothing can really benefit from that creature being dead. It's a weird like combo that could work. Speaking of some of the whips, Hydra Whip is probably one of my favorites. It's 1d6 slashing bludgeoning, but it can multi-hit. So you know like a Hydra has several heads, right? It'll multi-hit and be able to target 3 creatures or the same creature 3 times. It cannot target 1 creature twice, though. Then we have Army of Many. Where some see the use in many of one, you see the need for diversity in your summons. Level 3, diverse selections. Double your summon slots, and for having such a diverse selection of summons, your magic is able to cover many types of spawn. You can now summon non-beast type creatures up to your dungeon master's discretion. You can choose to have some of your summons share your initiative or not. Level 6, variety pack. All pack-based benefits apply regardless of type as long as vicinity requirements are met. So take the baboon, right? Pack tactics. This would automatically apply no matter what, as long as the baboon is within 5 creatures of anything. And like I know like some things like the dire wolf might have like... That's right, I don't even know why I added that. But basically, like, if anything benefits from having another one of it next to it, it will automatically apply, regardless of any creature. For every 2 unique summons you have, add +1 to damage or attack rolls made by you and your summons. For every 3 unique ones, add +1 to either your or all your summons AC. It might seem good, but you're going to have to choose between your own AC or your summons AC. And your summons are nice until something gets up close to you and messes you up, because you can't use your whip close range. So you have to be close to your summons in order for that to be dealt with. For every 2 duplicate summons, -1 to damage and attack rolls made by you and your summons. For every 3 duplicate summons, -1 to either your or all of your summons AC. I want that to work like maybe the DM would make an area small enough for humans to get through, but you can't really summon anything big. So you'd have to duplicate a few summons that are still like useful. Level 10, tag, you're it. This is kind of similar to summon tag damage to Terraria. Your whip now affects your minion damage, your summon damage, giving summon tag damage for 2 rounds. This can only be focused on one target, and when choosing to do it, summons hitting other targets lose damage and attack roll bonus in accordance with the list below. So at level 10, it's +2 to damage and attack rolls, only for your summons, not for you. Level 14, +4, level 18, +6. But if you try and have your summons attack anything else, they lose the amount. So say you're targeting like a owl bear, right? And your summon, you have your one of your summons go and attack like a goblin. The summon attacking the goblin, if you're at level 10, would suffer a -2 penalty to damage and attack rolls. But the summons attacking the owl bear would benefit from a +2. So you're only really able to hit one creature if you do. Actually, I might have that be a always on thing. Right, level 14, Bastion. This is where dungeon masters can really get creative with this class, because it seems broken until you realize AoE spells are a thing. Once per short rest, use either yourself or a designated summon as a bastion. When a designated bastion is created, any summon or party member within 40 feet of it will gain the following: current summoner level +3 in temporary hit points, a +2 to AC, +1 to all saves, any expertise in any skills from anybody in the bastions instead given to the party as proficiency. So if a rogue or a monk has expertise in sleight of hand, if he enters the bastion aura, it is instead turned to proficiency, but everyone else has it. So if a monk has proficiency, or if a monk has expertise in like athletics checks, that would get turned into proficiency, but everyone else in the bastion would have it until he walks out. And you do lose all the benefits if you do walk out of the bastion. Now, where DMs can have fun is like getting everyone else low enough to where they like really need to go into the bastion to survive, and then using an AoE spell like maybe create water and then shatter, or create water and thunderbolt, or create grease and fireball to like mess with them. So it it doesn't force everyone to, but it advises players to go into a group in which the DM can then exploit for AoE spells, if that makes sense. And then you have your summons list with your familiars, your general summons, like the baboon, the eagle, the rat, the spider. You can only summon beasts unless if it's stated otherwise. Like with Ratkeeper, you can summon, well, rats, but only rats. Nuzlocke, you can now summon non-beast type creatures up to your DM's discretion. Army of Many, same thing. Jack the Whipper, you really won't be summoning anyway. So what the fuck's the point? But yeah, I made this in like 5 hours. Any feedback would be appreciated. I do want to use this in a homebrew campaign at some point that I might stream. And yeah, that's the video. So see you guys.